record.
Okay. Hi, this is Let's Discuss a paper soon after reading it. We read the paper for 2 hours before, and from now on, we will discuss it. First, we will introduce ourselves. Please, Yota.
Hi, I am Yota Kawashima. I'm doing research assistant at ATL Monash University.
Thank you, Yota. And I'm Ryoichi Watanabe, PhD student at Kyoto University. Today, we read and discuss about conscious and unconscious memory differentially impact attention, eye movement, visual search, and recognition process, written by Michel Ramey, Andrew Yonelinas, and John Henderson, and published in April 2019 by Cognition. First, I'll summarize it briefly. So according to previous research about the visual search, the contextual cueing effect is happened. It means that when the order of the stimulus is repeated, the participants' learning is increased, and the participant can faster to search the target stimulus. However, so this is like the contextual cueing effect, but it is not clear that this contextual cueing effect is caused by conscious memory or unconscious memory. It is controversial, but also the previous research examined the eye movement when the participant do the visual search, but also the result of the eye movement of previous research were incongruent. Therefore, in this study, the authors examined the relationship between the visual search performance and whether memory or the conscious memory or unconscious memory and eye movement. So in this experiment this study, the participant firstly saw the 256 natural scene image, including the letter L or T on the learning phase, and the images were constructed once presented image is in 1904 and another 64 images were presented once, and another 64 images were presented 3 times. So total is 256. And then in the test phase, participant responded total 160 images, including the new 32 image. And for in the response, participant response, the image was appeared or presented before, and the participant responded 6 scale, right? The recorrect order. Order means that the image was presented. Okay, so the first recorrect order, and then recorrect order. I'm sure it's old, and maybe it's old. I don't know, and maybe it's new. And finally, I'm sure it's new. And new means that the image was not presented the learning in the learning phase, right? Then participants conducted the visual search task. The same way in the scene, participants search the target letter L or T. And the result shows that, in the result, the authors are used or calculated the three measures. One is the difference or delta between the distance of the first eye movement and the the distance or vector distance between the first eye movement distance and the real target appeared. And then the efficiency of the visual search for target. And finally, third is like the distance between the eye movement and the target. Each each moving. And briefly, the results showed that the conscious memory, it means that the participants notice that or notice that the image was presented in the learning phase effect or are related to the participant first eye movement. And also, regardless of the conscious or unconscious memory, the efficiency of visual search is better than the image didn't present it at the learning phase. So in conclusion, there are two. There is the effect of the memory to the visual search and the eye movement, and the conscious memory are related to the first eye movement, and the memory related to the efficiency of the visual search. This is a briefly summarize of me, and please add or some comment.
Okay, I think my understanding is that the main focus of this study is the test phase, the data analysis on test phase. Because for the learning phase, if I understand correctly, they just confirm that the contextual cueing occurred. And then by using the same stimuli or the same scenes used in learning phase, in test phase, they assess whether the participants remember the scenes previously shown in the learning phase or not. And then they analyze the the eye movement depending on the the participants' memory or confidence about the previously presented stimuli. Then what they found is that for the fast saccade accuracy, so just from the fixation point to the next eye movement point, and the conscious conscious memory. So if participants consciously remember the scene, the fast saccade accuracy increased. But if a participant did not consciously remember the previously consciously remember the scene, the first saccade accuracy did not increase. right?
Mm.
Then also they, investigate that not only the first saccade accuracy, so just from fixation to next, point, and they also, check the track or trajectory from the, fixation center point to the target. So including the many saccade until the participant reach the or define the target. Yes, in that case, the conscious memory does not affect the efficiency of that trajectory from the target to the stimulus. At the fixation point to the target, but the unconscious memory increases the efficiency of the fixation, or the the efficiency of finding the target in a trajectory, in terms of the trajectory from the fixation point to the target. Yeah. Yes. That's what I understand from this paper. So basically what their claim is that the conscious memory and unconscious memory have different effect on eye movement. So if participant consciously remember it, the fast eye movement, the fast saccade improve. But even though they remember the consciously remember the stimuli, the fast eye movement will not increase a lot. On the other hand, even when participants unconsciously remember it, not the first movement, but the total trajectory from the first fixation point to the target increase. Again, that's what I understand from this paper. So unconscious and conscious memory have different effects on eye movement.
Yes, and they and for these analysis, the authors manipulate or control the familiarity memory, right? Familiarity effect, right? So like the participants are saw 3 times or 1 time in the learning phase. But so there is no effect of the familiarity or the number of looking of the target is not related to these results, right?
I understand this paper in a different way. So when you say the familiarity, I don't think it's something related to the number of repetition in learning phase. Because you said that the author compared the stimuli, which was presented only once in the learning phase, versus the stimuli that were repeatedly presented in learning phase 3 times. But I think in the familiarity based analysis in this paper, they just compare the confidence of participant remembering the stimuli or scenes, right? And first, the author just focused on the target that were presented once in the learning phase. And then after that, doing the all analysis, then I think in the replication section, they mentioned that they repeat the same analysis for the stimuli that were presented 3 times in learning phase, and then confirm that they observed the exact the same patterns, the same results as the you know, and results from you know, stimuli that were presented once in the learning phase. So there are no comparison between the you know, scenes that were presented once versus scenes that were presented 3 times, I think. But why do you think that the familiarity analysis is something to do with the number of repetition in the learning phase?
Sorry, what do you mean? Sorry, please repeat your point.
Okay, so I think first, I think you explained that familiarity, you know, analysis is something to do with the number of repetitions. So presented once or presented 3 times, something like that. But I don't think that is correct, because in the you know, the material and method part, they first only focus on the scenes that were presented once. So just ignore the scenes that were repeatedly presented.
I see.
And then within that part, they also did familiarity-based analysis. And then they explain that the familiarity can be, or I understand that the familiarity can be, you know, rephrased as the confidence of participant remembering the scenes, because in the familiarity, you know, based analysis, let's say, for example, in figure 3 of this paper, they try to capture the trend of, you know, for example, in the case of figure 3, the trend of, you know, the accuracy, the first saccade accuracy across the different participant response. And they draw some, you know, linear line across on the different response, meaning that the short, old response, and maybe old, don't know, maybe new, and new, short, new. And then I consider that kind of, you know, the confidence, the degree of confidence is something to do with familiarity, I think. And here, there are nothing, no like a 3-phase, there's nothing to do with the repetition of, you know, scenes in learning phase, right? Because they only focus on the scenes that were presented once. Then even though they, you know, presented the stimuli once in the learning phase, depending on the, you know, scenes, because they are, you know, many trial, like 160 or something, their participants' response will vary, right? For some response, participant says, yes, I remember this. or sure, yeah, or for other scenes, they said that even though they were presented, but they encountered, participant encountered the scenes previously in the learning phase, they just don't remember it. So they just respond, say that, oh, maybe new or don't know. And again, this is the confidence of remembering scenes.
I see.
And
Okay,
then, yeah, so first focusing only on the scene that were presented once in learning phase. And then after doing all analysis, and they try to replicate the results by using the scenes that were presented 3 times in the learning phase. And that was explained in replication section in results, I think.
I see. So I may be misunderstanding that understood that I thought that the result include so the data integrated the first once picture and third times picture integrated data, I think, in the result. But so I see. So for in the result, the author used the only once presented image, and the familiarity means like this confidence rating scale. Yeah.
I don't know. That's what that's my understanding of this paper. So I might be wrong.
Yeah, but I see.
Yeah, I'm now checking the replication section and says that all of the test phase analysis above throughout sections 3.2 were conducted using the scenes that were presented once in the learning phase. And as we expected, the scene that were presented 3 times to be at ceiling level performance, recognition. However, we also examine performance on the latter scenes for the sake of completeness. Yeah, just replicate the same analysis, or try to replicate the analysis using that 3 phase. So yeah, again, that's what I understand. But anyway, so the main point is that then the conscious memory, like the first occurred, and unconscious memory is something to do with the trajectory from the first fixation point to the target, and not the first occurred.
Yeah, I see. Yes, so this is main point, and so let's discuss. Okay. Yeah.
So first of all, I think this is first time for me to read paper about only eye tracking paper, and this is, I think, period psychophysics experiment. And in the discussion part, they mentioned that with this study, they did not record any neural activity. They suggested some potential neural substrate of this effect. I think hippocampus or something will be related to this effect. But anyway, what I wanted to say is that although this is what I want to say is that this paper was just interesting for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Yes. So, and this paper I choose, and why I choose this because firstly I'm a developmental psychologist. So, for the study about for studying the infants or something or animals, they cannot respond subjectively. So normally for infants, we use the eye tracking method or looking paradigm of visual search. So I'm interested in the eye movement study in the adults and the relationship between the consciousness and the eye movement. So I choose it. And so
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm wondering how to say the eye movement or looking preference is not always related to the consciousness, right? So this study shows that the unconscious memory affects the visual search. So we can't say that infants have a consciousness because they have an eye movement.
First, again, this is not the experience per se, but the conscious or remember whether participant consciously remember the scenes or not. But I think in the last paragraph of the discussion, authors mentioned that maybe by using their finding, we can infer whether participant remember the scene, consciously remember the scene or not, something like that. Because again, based on this, their analysis, their study, they found that if participant consciously remember the scenes, then the first saccade accuracy will increase. So by measuring that, if we see the increase of first saccade accuracy, by that we can infer that, okay, then this participant consciously remember the scene. That's potential application of this result. And also by using the not the first saccade, but also the the trajectory, the total saccade until the participant get to the target. They can assess whether participant just forgot they encountered the scenes, but still they encountered the scenes before. We can make some kind of inference based on measuring the eye movement, and that's something what we can or use even for infant, I think. Because if you can see that the infant's first saccade accuracy increased for a particular scene, then we can probably say that, then guess that, oh, this infant cannot make verbal report, but still they consciously remember that scene.
Yeah, I see. But yeah, I understand. But so I think this eye movement paradigm, eye movement, is this task specific one. So in this study, and sorry, the visual search task and the target and participant should search the target, right? Letter L or T. So I think the task demand the task demand relate attached to the image, right? Or relate to the task demand relate to the image, right? So the natural seeing image and the letter, including the letter. So the participant should search the letter. So the eye movement first eye movement is related to the conscious memory. But how about the free visual searching or not the target letter, target stimuli, just the natural seeing? How related? This is so this study can be generalized for natural seeing or so no conscious memory, or just this target visual search task.
Yeah, that's fair to ask. I think reasonable questions, because in order to measure the saccade, we first need to have a target within natural seeing, and then with that setting, we can check the eye movement until participant find the target. So without any target beforehand, we just can't measure, or we can't measure, eye movement that investigated in this paper. So the target is necessary. So in the natural scene,
but I think normally the human see firstly the search of the critical object or something, or high saliency object. First we look, and then search the all, right? Or the the face of the humans are not only adult but also infants see firstly search the face or the high saliency object. So in this study, the target stimuli is the letter, but also for the natural seeing, we can use the face or the critical object. First, we can predict the first predict the people firstly see.
Okay. I remember that in the method section, they explain how they analyzed their data, and then they said they used the linear mixed model, which consider the across subject and across image, differences, and which might suggest that, of course, depend, as you explained, that different scene has different properties. So the attentional, I don't know. Let's say, yeah, for example, if one scene contains the color red, then that will attract participant eye more than other scenes. So the attentional, I don't know the proper term, but some, attentional demand. I don't know, but what I want to say is that some differences in terms of the attention between scenes. and they considered that. But again, I am not sure whether, how they, I understand your question is that how we can, apply their approach to natural scene without target, and then whether it's possible to, use their method by, looking at some saliency or attentional, or attractive object within natural scene or something like that. But I don't think we need to think about or some trick to, implement their method to investigate that. But impact attention. Movement, visual structure. Memory differential impact attention.
So you saw the method section?
Now I just reading the title, the conscious and unconscious memory differentially impact attention.
And I think attention means like the eye movement in study.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. So I want to use the eye movement measure in future for study.
I think, supplementary material or figure, appendix figure, they show some results from statistical analysis. And I think the result from linear mixed model will be presented somewhere, should be presented somewhere. But I, could not find it by myself within 2 hours. But I moved. So I see, that's your question. Basically I have the same, question, meaning that how we can apply this approach to the scenes of stimuli without any target. But I'm not sure whether that's meaningful or not, because this study, what they wanted to investigate is only the conscious memory, unconscious memory effect on, searching target. So their focus is kind of the how, people or any animal search target within the scenes. Then whether that there will be some, effect of, memory, conscious memory on that visual search. So it's not, directly related to what we are interested in, the conscious experience per se.
I see. Or so visual search, a natural scene. I see eye movement.
Do you have any other comments, question about this? I think we already discussed this paper roughly like 40 minutes.
Right.
So if you do not have any question, we can finish here.
Yes, I don't.
Okay, then let's finish here. See you next week.
See you.